Are you thinking about living on Bainbridge Island and are curious about overall costs? Well, we're going to share everything from the cost of gas to the cost of housing right here on Bainbridge Island. Hi, I'm Lori Sinclair with Bainbridge Homes Real Estate, and welcome to Bainbridge Redefined, where we talk everything about Bainbridge Island living. Today, I'm going to break down the costs of living right here on beautiful Bainbridge Island. We work with many people moving here to Bainbridge Island, and this is always one of the top questions we get. So today we're going to break it down with some bottom line numbers. The first thing we're going to talk about is the obvious, the cost of housing. One of the first things that you need to decide is, are you going to rent or are you going to buy? What kind of house do you need? Are you single? Do you have a family? Are schools important to you? The average 3-bedroom single-family home on Bainbridge Island is roughly $977,000 for a non-waterfront. And a waterfront, it's going to be a little pricier. It's about $2.1 million. A 2-bedroom non-waterfront runs roughly about $865,000, and a 2-bedroom waterfront is a little bit less at about $1.7 million. You know, these are just some generalizations, so, house prices can vary based on finishes and specific location, size, all of that stuff. So if you're looking for something specific, shoot me a message. I can help set you up on a search for just what you're looking for. Now, if you were looking to rent in the area, you're going to be looking at about $2,500 to $5,500 a month, depending on where you're located and the size of home. A good rule of thumb in pricing is that it gets more expensive if you have waterfront or if you're closer to the downtown area of Winslow versus living in a non-waterfront location or in a less dense portion of the island. Now, property taxes in the area can vary, but what you can expect is about $9.70 per $1,000 of appraised value. So I hope that gives you a good idea about the cost of housing and some of those other related costs of living right here on Bainbridge Island. But let's go over some of the other expenses that we have. We are really lucky to live here in Washington State, which is one of the very few states that does not have a state income tax. And gas prices on this side of the Sound tend to be a little bit less than on the other side of the water. They're running about $3.50 a gallon right now for regular. And we also have a robust bus system, including an on-demand bus. So what that is there's a service right here on the island that you just, through an app on your phone, you can on demand call a bus pretty much to your door to pick you up and take you around the island, deliver you to the ferry or whatnot. So you might be wondering about Uber. We don't have those. We don't really have Ubers, but we do have the on-demand bus. So that's just island life. It's the way it is. We do have some logical costs that people don't necessarily expect. Our annual car registration runs about $45 for a renewal, but if you have an electric vehicle, you can expect to pay a $150 fee. They gotta make up for those gas taxes. So sales tax here on Bainbridge Island, and actually throughout our entire Kitsap County, runs 9%. So that is a little bit higher than you'll find if you go across the water to the other counties. They run, 0.25% less, say, thereabouts. Don't quote me on that, but they are under 9%, like 8.75 or 8.5, things like that. And another thing to be aware of, whenever you're selling a house here in Washington, wherever you're located, sellers are obligated to pay an excise tax on that sale of between 0.75% to 2.5%. So that's a little bit of a bummer for the seller, but that's just the way it is here in Washington. Well, I hope this video gave you some insight into the cost of living here on Bainbridge Island. If you should have any additional questions, just please don't hesitate to reach out to me. My contact information is around here somewhere. I'm Lori Sinclair with Bainbridge Homes Real Estate, and I'll see you next time.